Time to do a spring tour of my baby tree nursery. Okay. So, got quite a few trees jammed in here this year. Back there, not out yet, just starting to come out. That is Acer campbellii. Here we have Acer tenuifolium. Got a few blossoms on it this year. Maybe get some seeds off of it. There we have Acer takasamensi. I keep a lot of my species maples back here. Here, which I had in previous video, that's Acer cerulatum. It's kind of tough to show up close because it's getting tall. Acer cerulatum. There is my Acer elegantulum. Pretty tree. Look at those leaves. Back there is Acer fabri. There is an Acer pictum hoshiadori. Just starting to come out. It's not quite out yet. There we have Acer palmatum hybridized with japonicum. I can't think of what that one's called right off the top of my head right now. Forget sometimes. And then I remember as soon as I shut the camera off. There we have Kawaii. Really cool shiny leaves on Acer shirasawanum. Kawaii. Here's a really pretty one. This one eventually gets rough bark, like a nishikigawa or arakawa. This one's called Allen's Gold. The camera's not quite picking up the orangeness of this, but it's quite orange. Starting to turn now, but it holds its orange really well. Better than Katsura, Yama, most of the others. It really does hold its orange. Pretty leaves too. These kind of long, pointy leaves. Allen's Gold, Acer palmatum. There we have Acer palmatum Japanese lanterns. I've noticed as this one's gotten a little older, like I cut a big portion of it off to make it a little bushier this year. I don't know if it's the conditions, but it's not really, the leaves aren't curling like they were when I first got it. Some of the newer leaves are curling. Here's kind of what they're supposed to do. Japanese lantern. So there's some curling. Hopefully it gets those curly leaves a little later in the spring. Let's see, we have right here, we have Acer saccharum monumentale. That's a brand new one for me, just starting to come out. We have Acer shirasawanum, not coming out yet. That's Junihitoe or Junihito. I'm not sure how that one's supposed to be pronounced. Fukunagashi, Acer palmatum fukunagashi, just starting to come out. Acer palmatum Cass's Hagoromo Rose. I cut this one down. It was about a 5-foot whip. I didn't really like the way it was growing. I wanted to branch out a little bit more, so I cut it down this year. Beautiful leaves when it first comes out. It actually produces really nice leaves the whole season. There's a new one for me. That's Jade Dragon. Really cool dwarf. Here we have Acer bergerianum. What is this one called? I forgot. I have to come back to it. This one is a variegated bergerianum, but it doesn't have a lot of variegation. At least the first couple years I've had it, there's a little bit on there. Last year was my first year with it, and its secondary growth in the summer had more variegation than the initial growth. Really didn't have any. This one, on the initial growth, at least it has some. So I don't know if this one maybe will get more variegated as it gets larger. It's a very fast grower. Pretty good size tree already. It's a good 3 feet plus tall, well branched. Inazuma nishiki, that's what it's called. Acer bergerianum. Inazuma nishiki. Here we have taemin nishiki. Gonna have to cut a few of the branches off of this one so it keeps its variegation, but it's got a few branches with really nice variegation on it. This one changes color quite a bit as it gets closer to summer. It's a really pretty variegation on it. The reddish burgundy color kind of turns like a green, and these variegated parts turn more like a lighter pink and a little bit of white. So, Acer palmatum taemin nishiki. This is Looking Glass Falls. That's a ricin type. When it first comes out, it has these like sumagaki kind of colored leaves. They don't last very long though. And then it turns kind of a deeper, darker green than a regular ricin. I like it. It's nice. Got one there, one weird leaf growing on it. There. That's not typical. So, let's see. Here we have Acer neponicum, but it's likely a hybrid, which is weird because Acer neponicum isn't really that closely related to any of the other maple species. But it's got real irregular leaves. I mean, they come out all funky, different shapes. So it's likely some type of hybrid, possibly neponicum, but hybridized with something else. I like it though. It's cool. It's got these big old leaves. This is Acer pubipalmatum, flying daggers. I really like this one. I got it all staked up because it was growing kind of weird. I'm trying to get it to grow a little more upright, but it's beautiful. It's almost like a Makawa Yatsubusa, but with kind of longer, thinner lobes on the on each leaf. Really pretty tree. Acer pubipalmatum flying daggers. This one just starting to come out. That's Acer crategifolium veitchii or veitchii. Here we have Uzun nishiki. Acer palmatum Uzun nishiki. Here's a really cool one that I was been wanting for a while that I just got this year. This is Acer plantanoides therant. Really unusual leaves on this one. They're very rounded. The lobes are very rounded off. So here we have Resic, Acer plantanoides Resic. This one grows really tall and stays slender. Pretty neat looking when it gets larger. We have Rainbow, Acer palmatum Rainbow. Everybody likes that one. This one barely grows each year for me, but it actually seems to be putting a little something on this year, so that'd be neat. There we have our Fujinami nishiki. Really pretty tree, dark and bright red leaves. That one's hard to find. Difficult to keep the variegation on it too. You have to be diligent about clipping out too many of these dark leaves. This one has more red, lighter colored leaves than dark, so I probably won't even clip it this year. Just let it grow. There we have Dragon Master. Nice and yellow. Beautiful tree. Probably my favorite rhyoscyn type so far is Dragon Master. And there we have Golden Falls. A little bit pointier leaves than Dragon Master. It's pretty too. I like Dragon Master better. Big one with the dark leathery leaves. That's Ruby Ridge. I'm too close to it to really get a good picture of it. This area back here is very small, so it's difficult to get far enough away from big trees to really show them. But there's a Ruby Ridge, and this another big one is Acer japonicum aconitifolium with all its flowers and seeds all over it. It's definitely a good seed producer for me. And this one, this super rare one here, this is Acer passiflorum. And this one's also loaded with flowers. And this one has the seeds are quite viable. I don't even have to put them in the refrigerator. So this is going to be a good one for me for crossing, hybridizing with other trees. This is a new one for me. This is species Acer oliverianum. Not out yet. That's can't think of it right now. This is relish, Acer palmatum relish, with kind of a two-tone green leaves, dark green, light green. It becomes a little more apparent in the summer than it is now. This is Lillian's Jewel. You see the variegation on there. Really nice variegated tree that you don't have to worry about reverting like some of the others. It's kind of has prettier color when it's in more sun. Although the completely shaded color is pretty too. This is kind of a intermediate in between. Gets a little bit of sun, but not too much. Acer calcaratum, that's what that one that's not out yet is. So, another one of my species maples. Here we have, and you can tell it's not getting enough sun. This is Twombly's Red Sentinel. This one actually has great red color all spring and summer if you keep it in the sun. I don't really have a spot for it this year, so it's not really in a sunny enough location, but it's doing well enough back here. Just not as deep of a red as it can have if you give it plenty of sun. Right here we have Shoujo no Mai, which is a butterfly type. Nice pink. Pretty fast grower for me. My big asakuzuki. Tough to get that on the camera there. This one is one of the ones that I cut back pretty hard just like 3 years ago, but it's already grown back. It's actually really nice looking. Here we have Jordan, nice and yellow. Got some dead tips at the top there that I got to trim off. But these palmatum Jordan. Down here is Izuma nishiki. That's a heavily variegated type, like oridono or oridono nishiki type. Izuma nishiki. Japanese Sunrise, which I'm turning into a bonsai eventually. It's got a nice nabari down there. But this one used to be pretty big, but I cut it back. It's still a good size, pretty bushy, but it was a much taller tree at one point. This is one of the nicer coral barks, in my opinion. Real pretty. The side that gets exposed to sun is red, and the opposite side is yellow. So it's a nice tree. Here we have Olson's Frosted Strawberry. Down there, a new seedling for me. That's Acer pseudo-ceboldianum. This is just coming out. This is an amoenum style leaf. This is like a rhizome. This one's called Rhizome shidari, but it's just starting to come out. There's another new one for me. This is Firefly. Really pretty. Comes out with leaves kind of like a first ghost, but then they start turning redder and redder every day, which is pretty neat. Usually it's the other way around. Usually these type of variegateds come out more red, and then they lose the red, but not this one. Here we have another butterfly type. This is a sport off of Benny Shichahinge, and this one's called Pink Princess. It's caught up in my, I'll just leave it there for now. Caught up in my gold coin. The wind blew it into my gold coin. Gold coin. Acer amplum, subspecies amplum gold coin. Really nice yellow tree. Nice leaves. Really pretty tree. This one's still young, my second year with it, but it's blooming pretty heavily. So I'll get seeds off of that one already. There we have just starting to come out. That's Strawberry Spring. So I'm looking forward to that one being out all the way. This is a little tiny graft I bought. Really pretty pink. It's supposed to be Acer palmatum species. I don't know that it is though. But whatever it is, it's a pretty tree when it first comes out. Gold digger. I cut this one back, but it's starting to put on some growth. I expected to put on quite a bit this year. I fertilized it, which I don't normally do, but this one was kind of struggling for me last couple years, so I just cut it back and fertilized it. Now it should fill out pretty nicely. This one is Mr. Sun. This is one of my favorite Shirasawanums. I actually got a few blooms on it this year. It's a small little tree. Its leaves curl, kind of like a Trompenberg type, but it curls a little bit better than Trompenberg. Gets this nice, if you give it enough sun, gets this nice orange cast over the green during the summer. Really cool, pretty tree. Acer Shirasawanum, Mr. Sun. Here we have Sardamen, which is a Sengokaku type, but the red is a little bit deeper, and supposedly it holds the red longer without having to see the Sengokakus and the similar coral bark types. You have to prune them to get new growth to keep that red color. This one supposedly keeps its color a little bit longer, so you don't have to prune it quite as much. It's a crazy colored one. I should have got this one a long time ago. Not a long time ago, but a couple years ago when it was first offered, but I'm really loving it. This is Noel. This is a variegated sport off of Shin de Sojo, but it's really nice, bright pink colors and nice variegation. very unique. I'm really liking it. Acer japonicum, akamote, kind of a reddish cast over the green, a little unusual for a japonicum. There's a new one, that's Livy. I'm kind of digging this one. It's kind of like a bloodgood type, like a dwarf bloodgood type, but it's got these, I don't know how to explain the color. I mean, you can see it even though the camera's not as accurate as my eye, but it's like a mauve. It's a little bit different color, purple red than most of the other trees, and it's got really pretty, for a dwarf, it's got really pretty full amoenum style leaves. Almost like a pixie has that, leaves like that too, but it's a different color than pixie, so it's nice. Livy. I bought it because it was described as kind of Makawa Yatsubusa like in growth, but I'm not seeing that. But maybe it looks more like a Makawa Yatsubusa as it gets larger. Here we have Mendocino Sunrise, which is a sport off of Summer Gold. Really pretty. Gets more yellow as it gets closer to summer. There's Koi. Already showed that one. That's a Makawa Yatsubusa sibling. Not sibling, offspring. There is Makawa KN, another Makawa Yatsubusa offspring. Here we have Gable's Glory. This one's supposed to change all kinds of crazy colors in the summer. So it's not that impressive of a color when it first comes out. I mean, not ugly, it's pretty, but nothing crazy. But we'll see as it gets closer to summer. Cricket. I didn't really like this one the first year I had it. This is my third year with it. I'm starting to dig it now. It's getting some nice shape. You give it plenty of sun, and it gets that nice color. It's a witch's broom off of Fire Glow, so it has the same color as Fire Glow. Incan, my Incan's taken off this year. Might have to stake this one up because it's really drooping. This is a new one called Sunny, and not really seeing characteristics much different than Jordan on this one, except that when it first leaves out, it leaves out kind of like a summer gold, and looks like maybe it gets its yellow later, which tells me maybe it's like Jordan but more sun tolerant, which is what I'm hoping it is. So if that's the case, it's a worthwhile cultivar. It's got these peachy colored new growth on it. It didn't have that initially, but this secondary growth is kind of peachy over the yellow. So looks pretty, but so far verdict's still out on that one, if it's different enough to actually warrant being a new cultivar or not. This is Acer truncatum Blaine's Dragon, which doesn't look much different than a regular Acer truncatum to me, but we'll see. Maybe as it grows. It's just a little baby now. That's Shiraz. Not a very nice Shiraz, but it's been kind of hanging on since I got it. I got it from a source which is not that great. I won't name who they are, but I'm sure other people have been disappointed with them in the past. But that is Shiraz. And Celebration, the best pink around as far as the reticulateds. Beautiful tree. Alright, that's it from my nursery, my baby trees. Next I will show my show garden.